Rest now, weary traveller. Another day is done, and you have journeyed well. Tonight I shall guide you into the realm of timeless Japanese literature, a world of profound beauty, where nostalgia breathes, shadows whisper, and dark, wondrous tales unfold. Leave the waking world behind and surrender to the tide of these words. Dim your screen, lower your volume, and let your eyes gently close. Step now into the beautiful dark of the story. The Moon Over the Mountain by Atsushi Nakajima. Li Zheng of Longji was a man of vast learning and brilliant talent. Toward the end of the Tianbao era, while still young, his name was inscribed on the register of successful civil service candidates, and he was soon appointed to the post of captain of the guard in Jiangnan. However, he was proud and unyielding by nature, possessing immense self-confidence. He refused to content himself with the lowly position of a petty official. Before long, he resigned his post and returned to his native hills, living in retirement in Xiali. There he severed all ties with worldly society and immersed himself entirely in the composition of poetry. Rather than spending long years as a low-ranking bureaucrat, bending his knee before vulgar high officials, he chose to leave posterity as a master poet 100 years after his death. Yet literary fame did not come easily. With each passing day, his life grew harsher and more impoverished. Gradually, frustration and anxiety consumed him. Around this time, his appearance grew gaunt and severe. His flesh wasted away, his bones became sharp, and only his eyes burned with a restless, piercing brilliance. The soft, full-cheeked comeliness of the beautiful youth who had once passed the imperial examinations was now nowhere to be found. After several years, unable to endure his dire poverty any longer, and solely for the sake of providing food and clothing for his wife and children, he finally compromised his pride. He headed east once more to accept a position as a minor provincial official. In truth, this was also because he had grown half despairing of his own poetic career. His former peers had already risen to lofty ranks. Li Zheng, who had once dismissed those men as dullards unworthy of his notice, was now forced to receive orders from them. How deeply this wounded the pride of the once brilliant talent can easily be imagined. He was perpetually sullen and displeased, and his arrogant, erratic nature became increasingly difficult to control. A year later, while traveling on official business, he stayed by the banks of the Rushui River. It was there that he finally lost his mind. One night, in the dead of midnight, his face suddenly contorted. He leapt from his bed, shouting incoherent words, and plunged headlong into the darkness outside. He never returned, though the nearby mountains and fields were thoroughly searched. Not a single clue was found. From that moment on, no one knew what had become of Li Zheng. The following year, Yuan San, a government inspector from the province of Zhenjiang, was traveling to Lingnan on imperial orders. Along the way, he stopped for the night at a station in Shangyu. The next morning, while it was still pitch black, he prepared to set out. However, the station official warned him, saying, "The road ahead is haunted by a man-eating tiger. Travelers can only pass safely during the bright hours of the day. Since it is still so early, it would be wise for you to wait a little longer." Yuan, however, relying on the large size of his armed retinue, dismissed the official's warning and departed. Guided only by the pale light of the setting moon, they made their way through a grassy clearing in the forest. Suddenly, a massive tiger leapt out from the thicket. The beast seemed on the verge of springing upon Yuan, but it instantly twisted its body in midair and vanished back into the brush. From within the thicket, a human voice was heard, repeatedly muttering, "That was close. That was so close." Yuan recognized that voice. Amidst his terror, a sudden realization struck him, and he cried out, "Is that you? Is that the voice of my dear friend Li Zhang?" Yuan and Li Zhang had passed the imperial examinations in the same year. For Li Zhang, who had very few friends, Yuan had been his closest companion. This was likely because Yuan's gentle and mild temperament never clashed with Li Zhang's sharp and arrogant nature. From within the thicket there was no immediate answer. Only the faint sound of muffled weeping leaked out from time to time. After a long pause, a low voice finally replied, "Indeed, I am Li Zhang of Longxi." Forgetting his fear, Yuan dismounted his horse, approached the thicket, and spoke warm words to bridge their long separation. He then asked why Li Zhang would not come out from the brush. "I have now become a creature of a different kind," Li Zhang's voice replied. "How could I shamelessly show my wretched, degraded form to an old friend? Furthermore, if I were to reveal myself, it would surely arouse feelings of terror and disgust in you. Yet meeting a dear friend so unexpectedly now makes me forget even my deep shame. Please, if only for a brief moment, do not despise my current hideous outer shell, and speak with the one who was once your friend, Li Zhang." Thinking back on it later, it seems strange, but at that moment Yuan accepted this supernatural anomaly quite naturally, without a shred of doubt. He ordered his retinue to halt the procession, while he himself stood beside the thicket, conversing with the invisible voice. They spoke of rumors from the capital, news of old acquaintances, and Yuan's current position, for which Li Zhang offered his congratulations. They spoke in the open, unreserved tones of men who had been close in their youth. Eventually, Yuan asked how Li Zhang had come to fall into his current state. The voice from the grass began to tell the tale. "About a year ago, on the night I stayed by the Rushui River during my journey, I woke from a brief sleep and heard someone outside calling my name. Answering the call, I stepped out, and the voice repeatedly beckoned me into the darkness. Unwittingly, I began to run, chasing the voice. As I ran on blindly, before I knew it, the path led into a mountain forest, and without realizing it, I was running with both hands gripping the earth. I felt a strange power surging through my entire body, allowing me to leap lightly over boulders and rocks. When I came to my senses, I noticed that hair seemed to be growing on my hands and forearms. When the sky brightened slightly, I went down to a mountain stream and looked at my reflection. I had already become a tiger. At first, I could not believe my eyes. Then I thought it must be a dream, for I had seen dreams before in which I knew, within the dream, that I was dreaming. When I was forced to realize that this was no dream, I was utterly stupefied, and I was terrified. Realizing that absolutely anything could happen in this world, I trembled with a deep, profound fear. But why did this happen to me? I do not know. In truth, we understand nothing. To accept without reason what is forced upon us, and to live on without knowing why, that is the destiny of all living creatures. My immediate thought was to seek death, but at that very moment a rabbit darted across the path before my eyes. The instant I saw it, the human within me vanished entirely. When the human within me woke once more, my mouth was smeared with the rabbit's blood, and its fur was scattered all around me. That was my first experience as a tiger. What kind of atrocities I've continued to commit since then, I cannot bear to put into words. Yet for a few hours every day, my human heart always returns to me. At those times, just like in the old days, I can speak human language, endure complex thoughts, and even recite passages from the classics. When I look upon the remnants of my own brutal deeds as a tiger, with this human heart, and when I reflect upon my fate, those moments are the most miserable, the most terrifying, and the most infuriating. However, those few hours when I return to being human are growing shorter with each passing day. Until recently, I used to wonder with horror how I could have turned into a tiger. But just the other day, I caught myself wondering, how was it that I used to be a human? This is terrifying. A little more time, and the human heart within me will be completely buried and extinguished beneath my animal habits, just as the foundations of an ancient palace are gradually buried under sand and earth. When that happens, I will completely forget my past. I will roam about as nothing but a tiger. And if I should cross paths with you on the road, as I did today, I will not recognize you as an old friend. I will tear you apart and devour you, feeling not a single pang of regret. In truth, whether beast or human, we all must have been something else originally. At first we remember it, but gradually we forget and come to believe we have always had our current form. No, none of that matters now. Once the human heart within me is completely gone, I would likely be much happier. And yet the human within me feels an ultimate, unsurpassable terror at that very prospect. Ah, how terrifying, how sorrowful, how agonizing it is to lose the very memory of having been a human. This feeling can be understood by no one, unless they have fallen into the exact same plight as I. But wait, before I completely cease to be human, there is one favor I must ask of you. Yuan and his retinue listened with bated breath to the wondrous and tragic tale told by the voice in the thicket. The voice continued. It is nothing else but this. I originally intended to make a name for myself as a poet. Yet, before my work could be accomplished, I arrived at this fate. The hundreds of poems I once composed have, of course, never been shared with the world. The location of my manuscripts is likely unknown by now. However, among them, there are still several dozen that I hold perfect in my memory, I ask that you record and transcribe them for my sake. I do not wish to pose as a proper poet by doing so. Whether my work is skilled or clumsy matters not, but to leave not even a fragment to posterity of that which I clung to throughout my life, even to the point of ruining my household and losing my mind. I cannot bear to die without doing so. Yuan ordered his subordinate to take up a brush and write down the words dictated by the voice. Li Zhang's voice resounded clearly and sonorously from within the thicket. He recited some 30 poems in all, their tone elegant, their meaning sublime. One could tell at a single reading that the author possessed no ordinary talent. Yet, even as Yuan marveled at them, he felt a vague, lingering impression. To be sure, the author's natural talent belongs to the first rank. But as they are, for these works to truly become masterpieces of the highest order, is there not something in an exceedingly subtle way lacking? Having finished reciting his old poems, Li Zhang's voice suddenly changed its tone, speaking as if to mock himself. It is shameful, but even now, even having fallen into such a wretched state, I still see dreams where my collection of poetry is placed upon the desks of the refined scholars of Chang'an. I see this dream while lying inside a dark cavern. Laugh at me, please. Laugh at the pathetic man who failed to become a poet and became a tiger instead. Yuan listened sorrowfully, remembering the old habit of self-deprecation that the youth Li Zhang had always possessed. Yes, since I am already a laughingstock, shall I express my current thoughts in an impromptu poem as proof that the old Li Zhang still lives on inside this tiger? Yuan ordered his clerk to write this down as well. The poem said, "By chance, through a wild malady, I became a different kind. Disasters and calamities follow, from which I cannot flee. Today, whose claws and teeth would dare oppose my might? Yet in those days, our names and fame rose high in harmony. I am now a monstrous beast beneath the overgrown weeds, while you already ride the wind, your power grand and free. This evening, amidst the streams and hills, we face the brilliant moon. Yet I cannot raise a noble roar. I can only howl in misery." At that moment, the waning moon shed a cold light. The white dew fell thickly upon the ground, and the cold wind blowing through the trees announced that the dawn was near. The men had already forgotten the strangeness of the event. They fell into a solemn silence, lamenting the tragic misfortune of this poet. Li Zhang's voice began once more. "Earlier I said I did not know why this fate had befallen me. But if I reflect upon it, it is not as though I have no inkling at all. When I was human, I deliberately avoided the company of others. People called me arrogant and proud. In truth, they did not know that my behavior was driven by something very close to a debilitating shyness. Of course, I will not say that I, who was once called the prodigy of my hometown, possessed no pride, but it was what one might call a cowardly pride. While desiring to make a name for myself through poetry, I refused to seek out a master, nor did I associate with poetic friends to strive for mutual improvement through study. Yet, at the same time, I disdained to mingle with ordinary men. Both of these traits were the work of my cowardly pride and my arrogant shyness. Because I feared that I might not be a precious jewel, I did not dare to labor and polish myself. Yet, because I half believed that I was a precious jewel, I could not bring myself to mingle with the worthless stones. Gradually, I estranged myself from the world and distanced myself from people. My inner resentment and shame only served to feed and fatten my cowardly pride. They say that every human is a beast tamer, and that the beast is each person's own nature. In my case, this arrogant shyness was the wild beast. It was the tiger. This is what destroyed me, brought suffering to my wife and children, wounded my friends, and ultimately transformed my outer appearance into something that perfectly matches my inner soul. Looking back now, I completely wasted the meager talent I possessed. I used to spout clever maxims like, "Life is too long to accomplish nothing, yet too short to achieve anything." But the truth is, my entire character consisted of nothing but a cowardly dread of exposing my lack of talent, and a sheer laziness that shrank from hard work. There are plenty of men who, despite possessing far less talent than I, became grand poets simply because they polished their craft single-mindedly. Only now, having become a tiger, have I finally realized this. When I think of it, I feel a burning regret that scorches my chest even now. I can no longer live a human life. Even if I were to compose the most magnificent poem in my mind right now, by what means could I publish it? Moreover, my mind draws closer to a tiger's with each passing day. What am I to do? What of my wasted past? I cannot bear it. At such times I climb to the rocks atop the opposite mountain and roar into the empty valley. I want to vent this burning sorrow to anyone who will listen. Last night, too, I stood there and howled at the moon. I wanted someone to understand this agony. But the beasts only hear my voice and tremble, prostrating themselves in fear. The mountains, the trees, the moon, and the dew think only that a tiger is raging and roaring in fury. Though I leap toward the heavens and throw myself upon the earth in lamentation, not a single soul understands my feelings. Just as when I was human, no one understood my easily wounded inner heart. The dampness of my fur is not from the night dew alone. Gradually, the darkness of their surroundings began to fade. From somewhere through the trees, the sorrowful sound of the morning horn began to echo, signaling the dawn. "The time has come to say farewell," Li Zheng's voice said. "The hour when I must succumb to my beastly nature draws near. But before we part, I have one final request. It concerns my wife and children. They are still in Jayali. Of course, they can have no knowledge of my fate. When you return from the south, please tell them that I am already dead. I beg of you, never reveal what happened today. It is a shameless request, I know, but if you could pity their helpless vulnerability and ensure they do not starve or freeze upon the roadside, my gratitude to you would be boundless." Having finished speaking, the sound of bitter wailing arose from within the thicket. Yuan, his eyes welling with tears, readily replied that he would fulfill Li Zheng's wishes. Li Zheng's voice, however, instantly reverted to its previous self-mocking tone. In truth, I should have made this request first of all, had I still been human, because I am the kind of man who cares more about his own meager poetic legacy than his starving family. I have fallen into the form of a beast. He then added, when you return from Lingnan, please, never take this path again. By then I may be completely lost to my animal nature, and I might attack you without recognizing an old friend. Also, after we part now, when you reach the hill 100 paces ahead, please look back. I will show you my current form once more, not to boast of my strength, but to show you my hideous shape, so that you will never desire to pass this way and meet me again. Yuan spoke tender words of farewell toward the thicket and mounted his horse. From the brush, an unbearable sound of sorrowful weeping leaked out once more. Yuan, turning back to look at the thicket time and again, departed through his tears. When the procession reached the top of the hill, they turned back as they had been told and gazed down at the clearing between the trees. Suddenly, they saw a single tiger leap out from the thick growth onto the path. The tiger looked up at the moon, which had already grown pale and lost its brilliance. It roared 2 or 3 times into the sky and then, leaping back into the original thicket, vanished from sight, never to be seen again. The tale is told. The curtain falls. Wrapped in the lingering echoes of this night, let yourself drift into a deep, serene, and boundless sleep. May the morrow bring you grace and peace. Until then, good night.